Hello and welcome to Turning Looks, a beauty and cosmetics podcast. I am your host, Darren, and welcome back to another episode. This month we have the amazing, the incredible, the talented, the MUA that has worked for so many of iconic makeup brands, Grace Insole. She's back again, and this month we are delving into product development, makeup artist-led beauty brands, social media, and being an MUA in today's kind of climate. I can't wait to get into this conversation. It's going to be a great one. I really want to know more about Grace's thoughts on product development and this kind of era of MUA artist makeup brands and the differences they bring to a lot of other brands that we see around a lot now, whilst also recognizing that a lot of the beauty brands that are around now, MAC, NARS, all started as makeup artists founded brands originally too. But yeah, let's get right into it. And look at us both with the purple eyeshadow.
Oh yeah, I haven't worn purple in ages. And I was like, what shall I do for her today?
Cute, cute. I'm probably going to take this all off before I see you again later anyway. So,
Fair.
why do you think it's important for makeup artists to be involved in product development?
I think that makeup artists, especially like working ones, ones that work on shoots, they work with clients all the time, they're gonna pick up on like the small details of a product and why something might not work. For example, it could be like the applicator, the size of the doe foot, like um the kind of really specific tone of something, if it's like a bronzer, I feel like they'll pick up on those things because of trial and error through their career. Um, so it's that kind of experience that just makes it so important to have someone in that role, basically.
Are there any products that are out there or that you've used in the past that, as a working makeup artist, you would have been like, oh, I would have done this a bit differently?
Oh, probably. I don't think off the top of my head, is there something that recently I've used that I'm like, I hate this applicator? A lot of the time, I think it's more mascara ones. Like I'll have a mascara and I'll love the formula, but I will hate the wand. Like I don't really understand a lot of those kind of really small, spiky ones. I've never felt like they worked personally. Or ones that are just huge. Like I like for me, I just never gotten on with them. But I'll be really annoyed because I'm like, I love the formula of this. I just hate the application.
Would you ever like, obviously, like a lot of makeup artists do, keep using it and just use like a your own wand instead of the one that comes with it?
Yeah, I would definitely try and do that. But then depends on which wand and like if I've got one spare. Like I don't like the disposable applicators. I never really like those.
Fair.
Um, so yeah, no, I mean I've just got like my things like that I like, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to using them.
If you have stuff that you like, there's no point of changing it up, right?
Exactly, exactly.
How does having a makeup artist at the helm of a brand change the way a product is created?
I think again it's that thing of experience. Um, like especially with how, yeah, like things that will have gone wrong and maybe knowing what would have worked better in that situation. And also I feel like it would be things like shade matching or doing this, and you're like, I wish that this was just that little bit warmer or that little bit kind of ashier. And all those things will stick in your mind, especially like working on clients all the time. So I feel like you kind of mentally have that little list, and so if you were going to create a product, that will be in the forefront of your mind of like, well, this was bad. So like this is how it needs to be.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think there's a reason why we're seeing more makeup artists creating their own brands at the moment? Like, is it because there's like gaps in the market, or do you think it's like a natural step in their career? Like,
I think it's a bit of a mixture. I think it's such a way for a lot of them to have maybe a bit more longevity in their career. If maybe some of them have kind of taken a step back from doing clients so much because, they've got a family and they don't want to travel as much, or just like little things like that. I do think it's quite a nice kind of step to keep into the industry, but maybe not doing so much of the like physical client work. But then I do think, yeah, there are like little gaps in the market, but I really think a lot of that isn't maybe necessarily like a product gap, but like tones and shades that just, big corporations that a lot of the people have never used these products a day in their life are just never gonna think up.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting though, because like we say that, well, there's so many more makeup artist-led brands coming out now, but when you look at a lot of the traditional makeup brands, the NARS, the
Hmm.
MACs, they were all originally makeup artist brands, right? They've just obviously gotten
Yeah,
so big and then bought out, and then like you said, you have the people
that's
now.
the thing. They've been bought out by people who have probably never even stepped foot or worked on like a shop floor or on a shoot a day in their life.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, which is kind of sad because like you think of like makeup artist brands and even brands that are like make products that seem to be more aimed at makeup artists, like Makeup
Hmm.
Forever, like the Max. Even them, they're like, yeah, you a lot of times you feel like they're not on the floor in terms of what actually is needed.
Hmm. Yeah. Or like the makeup artists, like that kind of initially started the brands, they'll get bought out and have no say over what the future of the company is, which then in turn is just really sad because they're just kind of pumping stuff out for the sake of it.
Well, it's one of the things that I feel like we've seen in really quick time with someone like Pat McGrath. It hasn't obviously been completely bought out yet, but that brand feels like
Hmm.
a lot more investors have a more of a say in the brand than she
Yeah,
does
yeah,
now. And then obviously she's now going to go to Louis Vuitton. Is it Louis
yeah.
Vuitton? Yeah, no Louis
I
Vuitton.
think it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton Beauty. So it's like right, okay, well you can kind of
We'll
see that. Yeah,
see.
yeah, we'll see. On that kind of note, thinking about brands like Lisa Eldridge, Pat McGrath, Hindash, Charlotte Tilbury, what do you think defines an MUA led makeup brand's identity?
I think that all of these makeup artists have like their little signatures. So, for example, like Charlotte Tilbury, she has her looks, like the complete kind of package, and they're what she says they're like archetypes of women that she's done shoots with and that she knows just like to buy makeup. And so I feel like that's kind of her signature of like, this is that kind of supermodel look, this is that slightly more everyday look. And you always know like a Charlotte Tilbury look when you see it. And then with like Lisa, it's her pinpoint technique on her patchwork skin. Pat McGrath, it's kind of bold color and texture. So they all have their little signatures that then kind of imprint into the brand that you then just know it's not just like any random brand. You're like, oh, I know exactly that that's going to be a Pat McGrath eyeshadow that that person's wearing.
And I guess that's kind of why people go to those brands, right? Like you go to a Pat McGrath brand, Pat McGrath makeup because oh, you're gonna get that kind of bold color or that
Mm-hmm.
interesting shimmer. You're gonna go
Mm-hmm.
to Charlotte for that complete look or that Hollywood fit, like Hollywood's
Mm-hmm.
flawless skin. Like that's why they create those brands because they've marketed it themselves and this is the makeup I do. So this is the makeup I'm gonna sell
Exactly.
to you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But yeah, you just know, like you always know it's from them.
Is there any like product from any of these like makeup artist led brands that you think have kind of really revolutionized how we approach makeup?
What was your answer?
I would actually say, if I was going to answer this, it would be probably something like Charlotte Tilbury's like flawless filter,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of almost skin tint before skin tint, but also multi-purpose kind of product that could be a
Mm-hmm.
highlighter, can be a foundation, but kind of is just
Mm-hmm.
like sheer coverage, flawless thing that like
Okay, wait. Okay, no, I
blew
do
up.
have an answer. I think Kevin Aquan and his contour colors is kind of what springs to mind to me because even now I still feel like brands come out with their contour colors and they are still a bronzer. Like they are not a contour shade. Like they are never as ashy as these brands think they are. But the Kevin O'Quan ones, like I have had multiple times and I still come back to it. Like my palette is so past expired. Like it should not be being used. But the tone is just perfect.
I also think, especially when it comes to powders, there's no
Mhm.
one really in the market other than Kevin Aquan who's doing powder contour. Like there's loads of cream
Yeah.
ones out there, and again, a lot of
Yeah.
them don't go ashy enough, but there's a lot of cream ones out there.
Hmm.
Try and look for a powder contour. Really, only Kevin
I know
Aquan's the
you
one
end
that's
up
doing
buying
it.
an eyeshadow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think also like I think Kevin Aquan like he kind of obviously like really mainstreamed or highlighted contouring, and then that
Hmm.
his
And actually
products.
looking at the face shape and structure in kind of people's everyday makeup rather than just like stage or film or drag or whatever.
Yeah. I also like remember like back in the Zoella days of YouTube, all
Hmm.
those YouTubers back then used to use the Kevin Aquan powder like
Hmm.
back then. Like that was a iconic staple in so many
Yeah.
kind of even
I think
influencers.
the closest shade I've found in like a more like modern brand is Surratt, but then Surratt was Kevin O'Quan's protege. So
Makes
it
sense.
made like complete sense to me that I was like the makeup artist who's made this brand worked for the makeup artist who made this other product. So like they've worked together for years. So it made complete sense to me that he would have picked up on the kind of like nuance of those kind of tones. It's still
Yeah.
not quite the same, but
I said the only other brand I can think of that did something like that was like Kat Von D, back when it was Kat Von D, she had the Shade and Light palette, and that seemed to do really well. But I
oh
feel like even then,
yeah.
one that doesn't exist anymore, and obviously problematic
I'm just
person, but also
yeah.
I think it was still quite warm anyway because it was going to the masses.
I've
Maybe I
still
think,
got my shade and light palette somewhere. I'll have to dig it out and
yeah,
see
compare.
if I can swatch them side by side. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
As
I
a
loved
makeup,
that palette.
yeah, it was good, right? I
Yeah.
never, yeah. As a makeup artist, what's the first thing you look for in a new product?
Well, I think for me, like I'm a magpie, so it's always like packaging is what kind of would draw me in. Um, and then I definitely have like certain tones, so I'll be kind of looking towards those colors that I not like my comfort zone, but that I'm kind of drawn to. But then like the main thing for me is texture. Like, from like when we go makeup shopping, like I'm just swatching everything absolutely everywhere. And I do the same with like clothes as well. Like I touch everything. I'm really tactile. So if I don't like the texture of something, even if I loved like the color, I can't use it.
What kind of textures do you go for? Is there any particular one you're looking for, or
Well, I think it depends like on the product. So like if it's lips, like I don't want anything that's like dragging or like catching on the skin. And that goes for lipsticks and lip liners. I love it when they just kind of glide across the skin. And then the same goes for like an eye pencil as well. I hate if I'm kind of having to like really work it. Like I want to just kind of have one sweep and be done. Um, and then in terms of like powders, I hate when they're really thick and like grainy. Like I can never gotten on with the Laura Mercier translucent powder, which I know is like some people's holy grail, but I've always been like, this is so thick and like I hate how it feels on my skin. So yeah, just like it's kind of different product to product.
yeah, I feel you on the Laura Mercier thing. I had that. I was trying to make it work
Yeah.
for so long, and then I was like, no, this is
I
just
just looked
so
yellow.
thick.
Like even with
Yeah,
the
that too.
translucent, I just looked yellow. But then I love like Hourglass, like their powders are so fine. Or like the Huda one is really nice and fine for like a loose powder, like things like that. I love that kind of texture. I don't want to know it's there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, both of us, we hardly ever wear powder as it is anyway. So
No,
when we do, we want it to be hardly ever. I use like
exactly.
I think an elf, but it's like a HD one, so it's one of those like super
Oh, yeah.
fine light ones. Like again, that you don't really feel that it's there.
The one that I use day to day, and I have rebought this so many times, is from It Cosmetics, their Bye Bye pressed powder. It's amazing. Like it's so blurring and it's not that expensive. Like obviously it's not like drugstore price, but it's not your like £60 kind of Hourglass or whatever
Yeah.
powder. But it looks so good on skin.
Mm.
And they have it in like different tones as well. Like initially I think it was just translucent, but over the last few years I think they've extended it so there's like deeper tones as well. But it's such a good powder.
MUA pro tip there. What's one product or shade you wish existed but hasn't been made yet?
Oh,
So I think for me, one thing I think I would love to see more of is more like desaturated colors in a lot of products. Like when it comes to like blushes as well. So then there being like a
oh, okay,
like I
yeah,
want like a blush that's got like load of gray in it. That
yeah,
so like it's still like a pinky color, but like load of gray,
yeah.
or
Hmm.
even an orangey color, but still have a bit of gray. Like I feel like a lot of things are so saturated right now that it's hard to
Hmm.
like if you are maybe paler or you've got certain different undertones, they sit on your face so boldly that it doesn't look natural on your face, and you
Yeah.
have to work them in so much. So I'd love to see more like desaturated colors, but in like a way that has been done and thought about well, not just like
Yeah.
I'm going to stick a load of gray in this and it will sell,
Hmm.
but like in a thoughtful way, a color theory
Yeah,
way.
I completely get you on that one because like I'm obsessed with blush and I feel like I still haven't found a really good like neutral blush for me that doesn't end up going just like bright pink. and then sometimes they end up looking really bronzy. So I haven't found that kind of good happy medium.
Yeah. I really want a mauve,
So,
but like a mauve blush. But everyone in the makeup like world, mauve is like a purpley brown, warm, rosy color. And I'm like, no, no, no. Mauve is like
yeah.
a pinky purpley, but like cool gray color. And like you do, they will label it things, or you look at like product pictures, and then you go there and swatch it, and you're like, this is not the color that either is online,
Yeah.
or you're describing it as just what. But
There
that's
you
me.
go. It's
I
the
love cool
first
tone
product you need to
things. Yeah.
launch.
Yeah, the desaturated line. But yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
about
feel like the
you?
closest I've come is like the kind of lilac-y blusher, but I'm like, even that's not, it's not neutral, it's just not pink.
Yeah. And also like a lot of the times there's like the purpley lilac-y blushes or not lilac-y purpley enough. So you put them on your
Mm.
skin and if you're ever so slightly neutral, they just go pink.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, 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 I want a lilac blush to look lilac. I don't want it to be lilac in the bottle and put it on my skin and it goes pink because it's mixing in with my skin tone.
Yeah. I think for me, like this is for me, like really personally, better eyebrow shades for like auburn and ginger hair because half the time, like they are so warm. Like if the pencil says auburn and like my hair's not that, like it's warm, but it's not that warm. And so if I use an auburn eye pencil, my eyebrows look so much kind of brighter, even though half the time you can't see them. I know it. Or then sometimes they're really like purple. Like they've almost got this kind of aubergine shade to them, which I used to actually prefer that. I was like, I'd rather it be that than like the other way. So like lately I've settled for like a kind of soft, like taupey color, but I'm still like it's not quite right. So yeah, I feel like I really like, Miss Anastasia or Hourglass or anyone with the good eyebrow pencils to bring out some more shades for my kind of reddish but not bright red hair.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of time they do auburn and it's just like a bright orange, right? Like it just
Yeah,
goes
it's just
ginger.
really,
Yeah.
really warm and bright. Yeah.
There's some like nuances within the like redhead family that
Yeah.
kind of
And
aren't
I'm like, I
dipped
don't want to
into.
use soft brown. I'm sick because half the time that's too dark as well. Like I just want something like in between all of them.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. And then it also works for like, especially when it comes to like colored eyebrow gels and stuff like that. Like if you're having to then put like a bright orange
Yeah.
in or things that
Well, I
just
used
don't
to
work.
use, I think it was lime crime before they kind of disappeared. Had this like their kind of redhead brow stuff was like purple, and I was like, I actually kind of like the vibe this is giving off. But I was like, I think it's just because it's not brightening my brows. It just looked kind of different. But
Yeah,
that was a good
yeah.
one. But it's still not quite right, but it was fun.
Do you think that like a lot of traditional beauty brands like are playing it too safe with color these days?
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm just so sick of seeing the same shades of kind of neutral and pink and another bronze kind of eyeshadow palette coming out from these brands. But then I think that's why like they're almost a different market. Like they're not kind of the makeup junkies, those brands. It's just the people who they just always want the same thing and they don't want to kind of differ. And that's who they're kind of catering for. Whereas then that's the fun part of all these kind of makeup artist led brands is that they're bringing out kind of maybe color palettes that are a little bit different that people wouldn't necessarily be able to just pick up in a department store, and have a little bit more fun with it.
Definitely, definitely. And I think a lot of the times the makeup artists, their brands, it's not even just the color, it's the textures that they're interested in. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like, the Lisa palettes will have their different interesting textures.
Hmm.
Vanessa Myricks has her like interesting like
Yeah.
color, like just interesting textures within her palettes. It's not just
Hmm.
the like colors that a lot of times are just boring and basic. It's also the textures they're not being really innovative
Hmm.
too as well.
It's like, like every Christmas there's gonna be like a new Chanel quad that's got a couple of shimmers and a couple of mattes, and they're not really gonna be any different to what they did the year before.
Yeah.
It just might be in like kind of Christmassy packaging.
Is there talking about like yearly things that come and go? Is there a trend or a formula you think should make a comeback in kind of like product development kind of way world?
Oh, I'm just putting this out there because my favorite thing on the planet has been discontinued, and you have listened to me whinge about this. And it's the Milk Makeup Under Eye, the Rollerball Sunshine one. I don't know why it's been discontinued. It's very recently been discontinued, but that needs to come back like tomorrow. But another thing, when I was reading this question before, I was like, the Laura Mercier, the original Secret Camouflage, because I do not know why they discontinued that.
Was that a concealer or a
Yeah, so it
foundation?
was like a little kind of duo. So you had your kind of corrector and then your camouflage shade. And I think they've kind of flipped it now. So it's in like a dual-ended wind-up pencil, but the texture's just not the same. And I see people all the time and they've got their one that they would have bought up when they found out it was being discontinued, just using like the little scrapes left because that was such a good product.
Yeah, I wonder if like, especially when it comes to the milk one, either they'll bring it back in like new packaging, but like and call it a different
Yeah.
product.
Oh, I hope so.
Because
I
to be fair,
hope
that
so.
product kind of really makes you think of like is Maya's lift thing that she brought out in the five
Yeah.
shades slash like the Rare Beauty under eye brightener thing.
hmm
Like there's similar kind of products, that kind of low coveragey, serumy,
hmm
concealery thing, well, that kind of vibe.
I just picked that one up off a chance, and it's been the only thing I like under my eyes for the last like 3 or 4 years now. So I'm heartbroken and I will not stop complaining about it.
Did
So
you
you can
stock up
at
before they
Milk.
went?
Yes, I bought 5 of them. They'll last me about 2 months. No joke.
Yes, we were at Milk. We'll start a whole campaign to get them back from
Yes,
Milk.
honestly, I'm devastated.
Do you think we'll see more makeup artists creating their own brands, or do you think the market is oversaturated now?
I mean, I think the entire market is definitely oversaturated, but beauty is just that market that never really takes a hit. And I'm a junkie, so I'm happy about that. But I definitely think we'll see more makeup artist-led brands. Like even if it's like little things, like and they only launch, like brushes or something like that. I just think everyone's gonna try and capitalize on it while they can. Especially with, like Instagram and TikTok and everyone going viral for like these makeup looks. That I definitely think we'll see more brands in the next few years.
It's interesting because I do think we're seeing more in more recent years more makeup artist brands than we've seen influencer brands. Because there was a time where
hmm
every beauty influencer was creating their own brand, and yes, they are still doing that. I don't think there's as many popping up as there was before, and now it seems like makeup artists are kind of stepping in that place where there's a lot more makeup artist
hmm
brands. I kind of just miss the days where someone would do a collab with a brand, like makeup artists doing collabs
Yeah.
with like MAC or Urban Decay. Just do that instead. Use their formulas, use their factory. You don't need a whole brand. Just do a small little collection, and we're good.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like a lot of them used to do that to kind of test the waters of maybe how well the future brand could be. But then I feel like so many of the brands that are doing well now are makeup artist-led brands, so maybe they just don't want to collaborate with other makeup artists.
True, yeah. But then that'd
But
also
then
be
I also
fun.
think, it's nice that you've got House Labs, and obviously that is Lady Gaga, but you know that pretty much everything is coming from Sarah Tano.
Yeah,
So I
right.
like that as well, having these kind of really influential artists as like your global director rather than it being her brand completely.
If you could swap makeup bags with another MUA for a month or just a day, it doesn't have to be a month. A month's a long
Mhm.
time. Um, whose would it be and why?
So I think I would want to swap with Violette from Violette FR, the brand, because I'm going to assume most of it's her own brand in her makeup bag, and I absolutely love all the skincare bits in there. But I love the colors and the textures from her brand. So I feel like if I swap makeup bags with her for like a month, every day I'd do something different and just feel really kind of creative and inspired because I just love the colors that she's picked for her products. Like I have pretty much all of them at this point. So I don't even need to swap with her, but like I still would.
I was gonna say her brand's kind of known for those kind of the colors and stuff, isn't it? It's like
hmm
really like thought through,
hmm
innovative kind of colors that she's doing.
Yeah. I love like knowing when she's got a new launch, like seeing all the kind of mood boards and kind of the different, like it could be like a beetle or like this random picture of like an oil slick on the floor that's inspired her. And also, I feel like I listened to her talk recently, and she was just saying how like the French have this really kind of minimalist approach. And like they'll kind of just have that one like statement lip or eye with a barely any other makeup really. And I love that kind of vibe. That I wish I could do that rather than having like a full face every day. But I love it. Like I always just think every look that she comes out with is so chic and chef's kiss.
I think that's the interesting thing with some of these makeup artist brands like Violette, like
Mm.
Lisa, that like you really get to see the behind the scenes of why they're creating something, the inspirations for something.
Hmm.
Like a lot of makeup brands these days, you don't know why they've created something or the inspiration. It's either
Hmm.
it just feels like they're tracing trends or trying to create a trend where
Hmm.
people like certain makeup artists, they will actually tell you this is why I've created this. This is the gap in
Yeah.
the market that I'm trying to fill. This is the color story. This is like
Hmm.
the reasons why I'm making it, which I think is what is so interesting about a lot of MUA led brands is that kind of you're getting a glimpse into their world of makeup artistry.
Hmm. For sure. And I feel like you see them all use their own brands as well, kind of like on shoots or kind of on videos. And they're using their brand alongside all these other brands and just showing how their stuff like fits into the market. And was like, yeah, like actually like this was missing. Rather than I feel like a lot of the kind of influencer brands, or not even necessarily influencers, but kind of celebrities who aren't makeup artists, are kind of putting out stuff really quickly just to kind of jump on a trend. Like I know, is it like Barry M has copied the milk jelly tint things? Like they literally look exactly the same, like the components as
Revolution
well.
have as well. So yeah,
Yeah, so
like
I'm like, it's that kind of, it almost becomes like fast makeup rather than like fast fashion. And I'm like, no, like that's boring. Like I don't need to see that from you. Like I want to see something else and I want to see the concept from like start to finish.
yeah, and I want to see the reason why you're creating it because like you're saying, we live
Hmm.
in a world where overconsumption, fast makeup. What gap are you filling here? What are you doing that's different
Hmm.
to what's already out there that is inspiring? Where's the artistry behind this product development?
Hmm.
If you had the chance to launch your own brand, what kind of product would you focus on? Or like, yeah, if you're launching a beauty brand tomorrow, what's the first product you're going to release? What's
I
the Grace Helbig? Lol. Grace Insole MUA beauty gonna be?
I feel like I'd have to launch for something that like I'm kind of like known for. So I feel like it would either have to be like some kind of colorful eye palette or even like on just a one singular eye, like one eyeshadow, which knowing me, it would probably be some form of purple, or blush, because I feel like blush is the thing that I'm just always slapping about six different blushes on every day. So I think yeah, it would definitely be one of the two. Like I'd want it to be something that I'm like, yes, this is what I've been like wanting in my collection this whole time. Like maybe it's just that certain shade that I'm like I wanted, but wasn't quite getting it from what I already had. So yeah, it would definitely be an eye or a blush.
What kind of blush would you bring out? Would it be powder? Would it be cream? Would it be a liquid? Would it be matte? Would it be dewy? Would it be like a highlighter blush? Like, because I know that you're kind of known for your pigmented, shimmery cheeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I would do a liquid blush because I love having that as like my base layer. So maybe I do like a combo. So it's like you have your liquid blush and then you have your powder blush to pair with it. That would have to be a bit of a shimmery one. So I feel like it wouldn't be like matte, the liquid blush, but it wouldn't be like overly dewy. And then you have your powder version on top that'll have like not like really shimmery, but the way kind of like hourglass have their kind of reflective particles. So it just looks really radiant rather than like glittery.
So like light diffusing rather than like the Rare Beauty
Yeah,
ones.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Even though I love those Red Beauty ones. I'd like to just go to their factory and just mix up my own colours because I want them to bring out a lilac version of that to pair with my Dior lilac blusher.
Well, you've done that
So
like before in
Selena,
terms
if you're
of
listening,
you've done that before though. You've gone to the is it the Melt bar? Is it Melt? Where you make your own
no,
lipstick?
bite,
Oh, Bite Bar. Oh, yeah,
bite.
sausage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that
but I
kind
can't
of
make a blush there. I want,
no.
I want like I want the lilac in like a powder format.
True, but like you have done you do kind of like doing that kind of like creating your own kind
Oh
of
my
like
God, I
custom
love doing stuff
colors,
like that. It's so much fun.
being your own chemist and stuff like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I watched a video the other day on Instagram and it was an influencer and they were like making the neon green wearable, and they use this like made by Mitchell palette and like put this green like green pigment on their lips. But we're just mixing colors on top of it till it got to like a normal lipstick color. And I'm like, that's not
Uh,
making green wearable. That's just mixing a color. Like you're not doing what you think you're doing here.
yeah, yeah. Whereas like when I've gone to do the lip labs, I'm like, right, I know, say like I want to make this nude and I want it to be kind of mauvey, but I want it to be slightly like on the cooler side, but I still want there to be this like bit of this pink and a bit of this brown and da da da. And like you're watching them kind of mix it, and in my head I'm like, I really wish that I could just take everything and just do it myself, but you can't. But maybe one day.
Well, I think that's about all we have time for this time. We've got
Oh
like
yeah,
a
because you've got to
minute
come to my
left.
house now.
Let's come iron some shirts. Cool.
Thanks for having
Okay,
me.
thanks for coming on yet again. It's been great having you. And that's it for this month. If you enjoyed the episode, please do give it a like, do share it, do leave a comment below, give us a review. It helps the algorithms. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn if you wanted to at Turning Looks Pod. And until next time, trans rights are human rights. Live your best glam life no matter how much makeup you're wearing, and always wear your SPF. Bye.